So I've sat down and finished watching all 5 seasons of the 7 Deadly Sins, and all I gotta say is it was a massive disappointment. Now season 3 was bad. I think everyone knows this, and you don't know this, you either haven't watched the show or you're just blind. Now like many people, when I first saw season 1, it was amazing. The animation was great. We got introduced to most of the main cast, and we get to learn more about their character backstory and personalities. And I thought the power scaling was actually really good because the main characters had to use techniques to defeat the enemy opponent, not just beat them with just sheer power. And of course there's some weird things in there, like how Bond liked a child, and I don't want to hear it. I don't care if she's 10 trillion years old, that is a child, and Bond is a pedo. But I ain't gonna talk about it much further. Now when we get to season 2, that's when the show got really good for me. The show went from a 7.5 to a 9 in my book. And since I like OP characters in shonen anime where the character just dominates every single enemy opponent they fight, Escanor was the perfect character for what I wanted. And the show demonstrates how strong Escanor really is very well. At the start, the commandment just dominates and kicks the living shit out every single sins, and there was nothing the Sin could have done to stop them. Meliodas tried fighting them all at the same time and dies, but plot armor saves them, of course. And the next thing you know, when Bond was running away from the commandments, he runs into the last Sin that hasn't been introduced yet. And to be honest with you, at first I thought this guy was just some random bartender until the sun came up and he started getting buff, and I was like, yo! And then he steals the axe from Galen, and I knew at that point that this man was goated. Then both Escanor and Galen just talk a lot of shit to each other. Then out of nowhere, Escanor just cuts Galen in half, and I had the same reaction as that chick did, but Galen gets up and uses full power, and now we find out that Galen's even more stronger than before. But when he attacked Escanor and cuts off those mountains, I got PTSD when Madara uses Susanoo to cut off mountains. But then we find out that attack didn't even do shit to Escanor at all. And at this point, I knew he was gonna wipe out all of the commandments. Then the bitch tried to eat his soul, and after what I saw he did to Galen, she was gonna lose the fight. And lo and behold, she gets burnt into a crisp. Then later on, Escanor fought Estarossa, and when Estarossa uses his commandment to stop everyone except for Escanor, when Escanor explained why his commandment didn't work on him, I knew that Escanor was just gonna win from there. I mean, without the commandments, these guys are like doo-doo, if I'm gonna be real. And when they started fighting, Estarossa punched Escanor like 5 times straight, and it didn't do anything. And when Escanor punched him once, he knew immediately. But after that, he did something that was so badass that hasn't been done in anime history before, I think. The dude stood on top of the sun. Bruh. And after that, Estarossa uses full counter. Then Escanor drops one of the greatest quote in anime history and just destroy Estarossa like he was nothing. Overall, season 2 brought the whole show to a whole new level, and then they announced season 3, and I was like, yes! I think the whole entire 7 Deadly Sin community was super hyped for it as well, because pretty much everyone knows what's coming. It's going to be the Meliodas versus Escanor fight, and I truly believe if this fight was done correctly, the show would have been like on SAO level of popularity or very close to that. But when season 3 happened, the animation was so bad, but people didn't really mind it at all because everyone thought that all the animation budget was just gonna go into one moment, that one fight. And with all the hype that this fight was building up, everyone waited, and when episode 12 dropped, and when I was watching it, I just couldn't believe it. I was confused. I seriously thought that this was a fan-made animation or something. I thought GoGo Anime fucked up, but no, it was the actual animation. And I just had a moment of disbelief. A show that is this good became completely horseshit. Then I checked on social media. People in the community, no, it was just anime fans in general, were mocking and making fun of the animation. And so many people were just so upset, me included, and it was rightfully so. How can a show make so much money become this bad? I just don't understand. The amount of people that were outraged caused the fans to reanimate the fight. And after this situation happened, this show I don't think has ever recovered since. I mean, you just fucked up the most important part of the whole entire series. This was the fight to bring this show all the way up to the moon. But no, they had to fuck it up, and then the hype for this show was gone, and ain't nobody watching season 4 or 5. And this episode legit turned this show into a whole entire meme and joke for people to make fun of
and laughed at.
So on to season 4 and 5. Both of these seasons were okay. The animation wasn't completely awful, but after that Meliodas and Escanor fight, I just don't want to do anything with this show anymore. And to sum it all up, Meliodas' father shows up and gets clapped by Escanor and his friends. Escanor dies. He will go down as one of, if not the best character in the whole entire show. Then they all live happily ever after. Of course, there's an extra arc, but those don't count. So yeah, that is it. I gave this show a solid 8.5 from season 1 to season 2, and I ain't counting season 3 to 5 in there. That shit needs to be deleted, redo, and reanimated. I know most people who sub to me are 7 Deadly Sin fans, so I just wanted to make this video for you guys, honestly. So yeah. Okay, bye. Also, shout out to the only guy that liked the Meliodas versus Escanor fight.